Okay. Um, just looking to make sure things look like they're right. I think things are right. Uh, let
I'll
me
pull
get.
up in the stream to make sure we can hear you.
I think Carter's gonna be watching tonight. Maybe he's showing interest, which could mean, well, it means almost nothing. But the invite was made.
We can hear you on stream, so we're good.
Excellent. Uh,
Um, cool.
okay. So, uh, last time we had tons of fun. Um, Henry went and checked out the Bloodhunter Keep. Spoke to Kaz very briefly. Wasn't really much of a conversation, just a request. And then had a bit of a conversation with Varric Garrus, the leader of the Bloodhunters, and was tipped off about bounty boards. Been sitting on those for a while. Um, and so Henry picked up got the info on a few bounties. Also, uh, Varric told him to talk to his roommate, who Varric knew outside of Henry. Um, and then Henry spoke with Patch and found out that Patch has been smuggling monstrous people out of the city because they are scared for their lives. Um, Something else happened. Ren did something. No, Call went and talked to Barnabas. This is actually first. Um, Talked to Barnabas about the invisible person walking next to Great Servant Rawl. Um, uh, Barnabas mentioned that lots of people say, oh, yeah, he's always talking to an invisible person, but nobody ever had evidence that it was actually an invisible person and not that he was just keeping up a stream of conversation with his patron. But considering Call actually touched this invisible individual, um, say that 5 times fast, um, uh, Barnabas was a little surprised that it was confirmed that there was a invisible person there with him. So, all that being said, Henry and everyone went to sleep. Henry sent off a little sending and got a cute little response. Um, and with that, does anybody have a reason they'd be waking up early? Henry, really?
Because we're going to talk to Zerker this morning,
Okay.
remember? So Henry gets up pretty dang early, does some real intricate braids in his hair, and then goes over to the Dozens barracks. Yeah. So that's what Henry's doing early. And around 7:30 is probably when he goes to the Dozens barracks.
All right. Anybody want to try and beat that?
I mean, I kind of assume that Call is always up by about like 5, but Call has no reason to get up earlier than normal.
True. Also, just quick revision. I did not take into account when I said it had been 5 days. I did not take into account this night that we are now waking up from. So this is the 6th day since returning, if I counted correctly. Um, so, um, is Henry planning on talking to Zerka entirely by himself, or are you going to try and rally the troops and go in as a group?
Henry is under the impression that the three of them are going to go together, though he's making the report by himself. So he goes to the barracks to talk to Call to be like, hey, like, what's up? And so if that's not the plan, then Call can correct him.
Okay. So, you do arrive at the barracks. What do you do?
He knocks on the door.
Okay. Um, Rather quickly, Andy answers the door, um, sees you, gives a nod, and as per standard Andy, says absolutely nothing, and then goes back to standing in his little corner. But does let you in.
Cool. Henry says good morning to him, and then goes over to call where Call is.
All right.
Probably at their bunk.
I will mention it's early enough that Jax can still get away with being asleep because injury, and Dirk is not in the barracks. Um, so, go ahead.
Good morning.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, I know we wanted to report to Zerka. Are we gonna do that all together?
Yeah, I just didn't think we'd established a time. So, um,
Yeah, yeah. Henry looks just kind of a little jittery and a little nervous. Um, Not like outwardly so, but you notice it because you know Henry.
okay. Um, Call's probably going to reach out and just kind of like place a hand on Henry's arm.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Did you sleep well?
Honestly, yes, I think I did. It was very nice. I worked up quite an exercise yesterday, so it was a rewarding sleep.
Oh, what did you do after we parted ways?
I hit the training field and stayed there for the most of the rest of the day. So, not as much. I'm looking forward to the rest of the team being back. It's more fun to exercise with them.
Hmm. Yeah, I bet it's more varied and more of them are available.
I prefer it that way. Um, well, if you wanted to, uh, I assume you want to go ahead and like get this addressed earlier in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, in that case, we will get a hold of Ren. Yeah, we'll get Ren.
Uh,
Um,
Go ahead.
okay. Um, I think Call's gonna lean over and towards Andy and just be like, hey, do you know if Zerka's in right now?
Um, I don't believe she has any appointments this early. I believe that she will be busy starting at about ninth bell.
Um, Call's gonna look over at Henry and be like, oh, guess it was a good thing you came early.
Yeah. I wasn't sure how early she would be up and about, and I wanted to be ready.
Sounds like a
Um,
wise idea.
should we go to Ren's room? Or should we wait for him in the courtyard, do you think?
Hmm. Well, let's wait for him in the courtyard for a little bit, and if time seems pressing, we can go get him.
Okay. Um, to kind of help get my head right, can I braid your hair?
Absolutely.
Um, cool. I guess we go sit on the one of the benches in the courtyard, and Henry does a just kind of like gets the top of Call's hair and does a fishtail braid down the back, just the top half.
Oh, that's cute. It's real cute, actually.
Last session, I had an image of Henry doing Call's hair and Ren's hair in very specific styles, and so that was what Call is. And so whenever we can do Ren's hair, there's a specific style as well.
I respect this.
Cool. So what's Ren up to?
So Ren usually gets up at about 7, and he's since they did not establish a time the day before, Ren's just gonna be like, okay, I'll just get ready then. So, you said it was about 7:30?
Mm-hmm.
Ren probably shows up shortly after that with breakfast.
Oh.
So yeah, he would have gotten pastries. Do I need to pay for those? Probably.
2 silver.
2 silver? Cool.
And I mean, unless you are going out to get some, in which case it would be cheaper if you went much further to get them, but you also wouldn't be back by 7:40.
As long as they're good.
2 silver.
Okay. Yeah, so Ren shows up at the courtyard very casually holding a box of almond croissants and little like fruit tarts. And he's just gonna give those over.
That's cute. That's real cute.
We talk so much about very specific pastry orders, more than you would ever expect out of a D&D group.
I kept it succinct though, so.
Yes.
It's the details that bring the world to life. So yeah, Ren looks a little like just slightly surprised that they all just happen to be here at the right time despite not having discussed it. So.
Cool. Well, Henry thanks Ren for the pastries, and maybe they take like 5 minutes to eat those and catch up before heading over to Zerka's office.
Alrighty.
Cool. So Henry knocks on her door.
There is no response initially.
Henry looks back at Call, like,
Call shrugs like, I don't know Zerka's schedule, like, ever.
Henry knocks again.
You hear a thud coming from a ways into, like, not close to the door. A stream of curse words that make you blush a little bit. And then Zerka jerks the door open, sees the three of you, looks utterly confused for a second, and then fully regains composure and says, "I wasn't expecting anyone this early. You'll notice fully dressed the way you normally see her.
I was about to ask perception
no
check
state of
on...
undress. You don't see there. Go ahead and give me a perception check. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
5.
13.
There is nothing. You do not see anything out of place. I mean, her office is a little trashed because
22.
It's always. Oh my. Still, there's no like. Ren and Henry really wouldn't know what it would look like if it was out of the ordinary, but nothing looks wrong. You do see there's a door further back that is hung open, but it like that. But that's where like her private, not. Well, I mean, this is relatively private. That's like her bedroom. You're in. It's like office area, bedroom in the back. The bedroom door is open, but you can't see into it because the door blocks the frame. And to all of your questions, no, not a misbuttoned blouse. She looks put together.
So I think after she says that, Henry says, good morning. I apologize for the early hour. We know that you are a busy captain, and we want, but we have a report to make because we have found out some information and wanted to get it to you if it now is an okay time.
Okay. As you're talking, she walks to her desk and then she says, "All right, come in. Close the door behind you."
So I'm just gonna write a timestamp down. Cool. So Henry steps up because we had established that he would do that. Okay. So he starts with, I wrote this down. Uh, so we have, as you know, I think as Call was mentioned, we've been investigating together, and we had been looking into the light hands. I did some investigating on my own, just with my normal tasks that I do around the city, and I found out some useful information to report. So, the Light Hands is an organization that has many services, one of which is supplying a fall man for crimes, which, of course, stop me if I'm giving too much detail. I assume that you know more than we do, but I just want to set the basis of information with this. So, since providing a fall man for crimes is a service that they supply, I found out that Vist was hired to go down for some of the crimes that he ended up being accused of, but he wasn't supposed to have any harm done to him, and the punishment was not supposed to be anywhere near that severe. So when the when he was set to be executed, the Light Hands tried to intervene to get their man back. Try and save one of their own. Now, I know it was our mission to find out who tried to save him. I assume to perform punishment on this group and apprehend them. And we have that information now. We know who it was. But what I also want to convey with this is Vist had caused some trouble for the Light Hands in the recent past and was kind of a loose cannon, but they still were honorable enough to try to save his life, rather than just letting an inconvenience be dealt with in a way that would not be tied back to them. I spoke with many people in the Rent District who did not have someone to turn to or power to plead to, and a large number of them regarded the Light Hands as good people who helped as much as they can. When we ourselves spied on the Light Hands, we saw that they had grace around payment for their customers who don't have much, which is not something I can say of the landlords in the area. So all this to say, I trust that you know to do what is right and with this information, and whether that's to report the Light Hands in a very official capacity or to let them continue on for some sort of other political reason. I don't know what the right thing to do is here, but I trust that you have enough of the puzzle pieces to do the most good.
So when you mentioned that this is DM, not Zerka speaking. When you mentioned that Vist was going to be killed for some of the crimes he was accused of, she had a little ear twitch. Go ahead and give me an insight check call. And I will say that when Henry started discussing the merits of the Light Hands, she cast a look at Call. This is obvious. Henry was looking at her face while speaking to her. This is stuff that you can't miss. Give me 1 second.
Let me know if Zerka wants to do an insight check on Henry.
first, she is going to ask, how do you know? Where did you get the information uh, that they do jailmen?
It was it was a source that I trust, but I can't disclose that information.
Okay. She is gonna insight that. Go ahead and
Roll deception?
yeah.
Or okay. Fuck. It's an 8.
Okay. She beat that.
Mm.
What would be obvious on Henry's face with that?
Um,
Like,
he looks visibly nervous at the question.
okay. Um, can she see, like, are you scared of the source, or are you trying to protect the source?
Trying to protect the source.
Okay. All right. Uh, she doesn't say anything. Now, I need you to roll. I'm going to need you to roll 2 persuasion checks. Give me the numbers in order.
The 19.
Okay.
And that's better. Um,
Sorry.
23.
Okay.
19 and 23.
Okay. Hold on to that 23. I read my notes. You keep that 23 persuasion when I might ask you for it in a second.
Okay.
Okay. So she studies you for a long minute after that full report. Nods slightly, like slow, small nod. And then she says, well, it does sound like good work. You've uncovered a lot of information. We do need more specifics on the one individual, or actually the 2 individuals that were able to escape from the attack. The woman who ran on the roof, and then there was another one of the bandits in the crowd that was able to escape. Those are the 2 that I look for to punish. I am not planning on. I don't really have the evidence to bring down an entire organization, and that first persuasion check was a 19, right?
Mm-hmm.
Give me an insight check real quick.
21. Wait,
Oh.
yes, 21.
She is efficient. She's good at her job. She is good at completing tasks. She looks like she is trying to get this job that y'all have been assigned finished. She's not trying to uncover some huge conspiracy. She wants this job done so that she doesn't have to put any more attention to it.
Okay.
Not in a like she's
Yeah.
not going to thoroughly do it, but it is pulling some of her attention. She has other things to do. She's not trying to land the biggest score ever.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Okay. She's going to kind of give another once over to the 3 of you and then say, do you have anything else?
Yes. And Henry kind of looks back at Ren and Call and said, um, "This is going to be news to y'all as well. I'm also telling y'all this at the same time." Um, and then turns back to Zerka and says, "I also caught wind of an organization, unrelated, that will smuggle Yuan-Ti and other," and he kind of coughs and like side eyes, perceived as monstrous races out of the city. If there's someone innocent that you need to get out and you don't want to risk your own resources, I can definitely get in touch with them.
There's another ear flick. Um, and the pupils of her eyes narrow.
Hmm.
And she stares at you for a while. And then once again gives a look at Call, and then even looks over at Ren, and she is insight checking the three of you. So I'll tell you what she rolls. Let me get my real quick. Pretty sure.
Henry, yeah. Henry's going to intentionally fail. He's an open book about this.
Well, I will tell you the insight she gets, and then you tell me what she gets from that. If you are trying to hide something, then you'll need to roll deception. Surprise, surprise, Zerka gets a good number. 24 on insight. For Henry, sorry. 27 for Call. And 21 for Ren. So if you're trying to hide your reaction, roll deception and tell me. Okay. That being said, 20 plus on all of you. Call 25 plus. What reactions and what feelings are y'all showing at the news that Henry just let loose?
Call is kind of not Call is not trying to hide. So Call is giving Zerka a I think you're gathering why I let him make the report kind of an expression. Like yeah. I like Zerka can put two and two together about things like the unnamed source and that sort of thing. And so Call is just sitting here like, so you see now why I'm letting him take the lead here.
Your boy had some stuff to say.
Yeah, and like I'm sure Zerka can read between the lines on a lot of things. So Call is just sitting here like, Though I think Call does look like a little shocked when Henry mentions the other thing. Because and when Henry did that, Call did immediately flick attention right back to Zerka, just to be like, I immediately need to know how she is responding to that.
Okay.
Call has been like eyes trained on Zerka the entire time.
You can go ahead and roll insight on
All right.
her.
That would be a 22.
Okay. Give me a minute. Ren?
Ren has been standing politely and quietly this whole time. He has kind of just been, going along with it, kind of similarly to Call, where it's like, yeah, we're letting Henry speak for himself right now. Okay, he has a lot to say. Let's see what Zerka thinks. And but when Henry brings up the new news about just, uncovering another organization sneaking monstrous people out of the city, Ren's face doesn't change, but if she rolled that well, she could see that Ren is a little aghast. So yeah, his face is changing some kind of color. It's not really clear if it's pale or more flushed, but yeah, he's just like, okay, this is happening. So he was not expecting this news. So he's genuinely surprised. So.
Right. And what is Henry's intent with sharing this information?
Henry is just very like straightforward, just like I think this is good information for you to know. And I have no reason to think that this would be a bad thing to share with you because I trust you and I think that you have kind of going back to what he said before, like, I think you have the best interest at heart. And so this is good for you to know.
All right.
Is he a smart boy? No, but that's what his intention is.
So I did roll deception because Zerka just doesn't really like to display what she is thinking or her emotions, so is always trying to hide them. But your 22 does beat the 10 deception she got because she rolled very poorly. um, uh, there's a few things. You beat it by 12, so you're getting a very good read on how Zerka is feeling about this last piece of information that Henry shared. Um, Initially, there's like a protective fear that goes away quickly, um, and then there is some suspicion as well as surprise that he just said that out loud. Um,
Sure.
uh, like you, this is Zerker we're talking about. You don't expect that people can hear into her office, but still, he did just say that out loud. Um, and uh, then all of that, which is like the first couple seconds of his statement, kind of melts away pretty quick, and is replaced by this look of, oh shit, this kid's gonna do something. Um, and all of that. So after her study of the three of you, she focuses back in on Henry and is just staring him down for about a minute. Um,
Sorry. Can I do insight to see like what I think her
sure,
expression says?
sure.
Yeah, 11.
Uh, so you don't get quite that much. Like you get that first burst of emotion. You're not quite sure what her expression is saying about you. Um,
A red try?
sure.
Okay.
We're keeping her same deception roll of 10.
19.
Uh, you basically get what Call got, in a slightly more minor way.
So sorry. So Henry would be looking like at when she starts continue staring at him because he doesn't like think to check her face right at the beginning. Um, but when she's just staring at him, why does he think that she's staring at him?
Um, you did beat her deception, so there's no. You detect no malicious intent from her. Like you don't get the feeling that she's about to stab you or arrest you. Um, uh, and she just she very much looks like she just learned something about you, and it changed it changed some things in her mind.
Good, yay, love that, fun.
Um, not like you have changed her opinion on life now, but like
No,
the tracks that she had going, some of them are derailed now. um,
in the mental chess game that she has, in which I am one of the pawns, I am now somewhere else on the board.
um, so this silence hangs for about a minute, unless one of you, is going to break it. Y'all begin to hear the sounds of training in the like louder clashes of sword um, from outside. Um, and she's still just staring down Henry. Um, and then she is going to break a little grin and cock her head to the side a bit and say, I kind of already have a way out of the city.
This is Henry of. I'm glad.
Um, she just says, 7 of mine are outside the walls now. Um, she's going to roll insight on you, Henry. 24.
Henry's just very confused. He's like, I am not sure why you're saying this to me right now.
Okay. Um,
But kind of like a, yeah, I know, I knew that. I'm happy that your people are safe, but also like, why are you telling? Like that's kind of the vibe.
sorry, 1 second. Um, the silence kind of hangs around a bit. Um, and she says, well, this is a lot to unpack. If you find any reports of the woman who escaped on the roof, let me know. Um,
Definitely.
Given what you have, I will go ahead and let you know that Dirk has been following up on the man who escaped in the crowd. That is what his primary search has been. And he thinks he's getting close. The 3 of you are dismissed.
Thank you.
I think Call looks a little bit surprised to be dismissed with the rest of them, but kind of just nods and rolls with it.
Um, cool. When we're kind of out, they close the door and they're, a little bit away, and it goes, I feel like I said something wrong.
You said something bold, that's for sure. What do you think you said wrong?
I was so nervous about the first part, and she didn't seem to care. Like, it didn't seem like a big deal. And the second part, I didn't assume. I guess I just assume she knows so much more than we do that I don't ever expect to take her by surprise. And I don't understand her reaction.
I don't think it was your information that took her by surprise. I think it was you. I think she has to reframe her perception of you based on what she now knows.
Henry doesn't say anything to that, and just kind of nods and goes, well, what should we do about our assignment now, our clarified assignment, since we can't really go where we originally had a lead?
Well, you guys can still go, but I can't.
I guess it's under the. I think they would have remembered us, like us going together.
That's only if the tiefling girl was able to give a good enough description of me
Hmm.
to the specific people who saw us at Half a Mug for them to link us together. And the likelihood of that happening is, well, I did get followed, so those people could also have given a description. Either way, it's not a firm certainty that they know.
I think Henry turns to Ren and says, "Do you have lunch plans?"
I mean, it's still early. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, never mind.
There are gears turning in Ren's head. Um, I think I actually need to see Master Barnabas.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna take a walk around the city.
Would you like company?
I think in this instance I will be more effective without company. Not that your company is not desired.
Okay.
Ren immediately looks kind of worried because Call did just say that they had been followed before. So he's gonna give Call a look, and they both have their Rocky Talkies. I think, like his spell focus, Ren wears his like kind of under his like outer layer, so it's not always visible. But he's gonna kind of like tap his chest where it is to Call to indicate like, let me know if you need help or like if you need backup or anything. So that's that.
Call, like, Call tries to give Ren a like, don't worry, it was nothing kind of a look. You know, it's fine. I'm fine.
Ren does not look reassured. But lets it go. So
Okay.
Cool.
Well, in that case, let's go do things.
All right.
okay.
Just real quick, is Henry going to do anything while the other two are off?
He's gonna talk to like first sister Lana or second brother Iridius or like people around in the keep that he hasn't caught up with in a while, but nothing worth mentioning
Just like small
really or
talk stuff?
role-playing. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Ren spoke up first. Let's go to Barnabas.
Okay. We're gonna go talk to Master Barnabas. Also, Ren wanted to, or I wanted to ask kind of for Ren. When we had the fight at the execution, I feel like Ren was looking directly at the woman who got away most frequently. does he remember any like details about her? Because I remember you describing her, and I don't know if got to take notes on her appearance. But
Um, let me check real quick.
like a
I bel
history check or
uh
anything?
no, I'll give you what you saw. Dark-skinned woman, um, very very tight curls of hair, um, was wearing you could see the leather armor under what looked to be like street clothes that were trying to cover up leather armor. Um, Carried a staff, like a bow staff.
Okay.
I just realized I have I have an actual like little NPC description of her, so I can
Oh,
read that
nice.
to you. Just a second. Um, about 5'4". Um, I'm not gonna say that you were quite close enough to get the color of her eyes, and that's the only other piece of information I have. So,
Cool. Okay.
alrighty.
So what time is it roughly?
Oh, still early. There was some minutes of silence. Um, I'll say the report probably took about 30 minutes. I think that's roughly what the gameplay time that we've had so far.
So it's like 8-ish.
So yeah, it pushing a little past 8. At this point, with y'all in the courtyard together before you separate, there are you do see lots of the Corps of Blades who are like organizing in rows. They're having like equipment checks done in planning for the upcoming expedition. Um, so like their equipment inspection. There are also some small like pavilions that are set up where uh, they're like wagons that are chalked and blocked that are going to be like provisions for the excursion. And that's starting to fill the courtyard. Like in no way is like filling all the space, but like you can see those around, as well as groups of Corps of Blades in long straight lines with um, uh, officers going by and checking them. But yeah, on your way to Barnabas.
Is now would like be an appropriate time to go see Barnabas, or should Ren like wait a minute?
Um, you are coming up on when he would be busy for like most of the day. Like you don't know if his work day has started yet. Um, but once it starts, he's going to be busy until the evening.
So it's better to like catch him now.
You probably would have to wait a while if you couldn't catch him now.
Okay. Then yeah, let's go see Barnabas.
Alrighty. Give me a perception check as you go through the university.
Okay. 17.
17. Um, at this time, once again, this is like the beginning of classes time. So there are lots and lots of like very low level members of the university. Not a lot of the Corps of Mages around because this is like paid tuition students. Um, and you do notice Praetor Paramount Tara very heavily scolding a group of, I mean, they're adults, but students, one of which has a smoldering robe on. Um, and she is shouting things at them about how, yes, prestidigitation is a cantrip. Yes, fire still burns you. Um,
Fire hot, fire burn.
yes. Um, but that's about all you see in the hallways.
Okay. Ren will go knock on Barnabas' door.
Alrighty. He answers rather quickly. Um, and like as you approach the door, like you can hear him moving around and such. You like he's doing stuff in there. He opens the door and says, "Ren, how are you this morning?"
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Slept better last night than I have been. Um, is there something you need?
I was hoping to speak with you a moment.
Of course. He closes the door behind you.
Okay. Ren does whatever he usually does. If there's like, no, I think Ren's standing. He's a little anxious. Um, First, I know you had a visitor yesterday, and
He just kind of raises an eyebrow and looks at you.
so yeah, like Barnabas knows they're on the same team. Like Ren is assuming just like we both know you talked to Call. Um, are they in any sort of trouble for discovering what they did?
Not with me. Um, I imagine that whoever it was walking invisible through my halls, if they knew, they might not be happy about it, but I would imagine they would have found out by now if they had been discovered. The pronoun game. I would imagine Call would have found out by now if the invisible person knew that Call knew about them.
Yeah, you're
Man,
good.
it's like
I
talking in
kept track.
circles.
You're good. Thank you. I don't mean to be suspicious. I've been recent events have had that effect on me. I wanted your advice on something. My team has been investigating the city, and one recent investigation took us to the Rent District. We encountered two specters, two ghosts, and a will o' the wisp, and we found that it had originated from a strange device. It was like a metal disc. When I looked at it, it had some kind of fading residue of a conjuration effect. And I wanted to know if you would know anything about something like that and what kind of people might have one.
um, you know what? Let's be fair here and have the man roll for it. Bad roll, but he gets a good bonus. Believe where are you? Oh, okay. Um, I guess that would be that. Seems good though. You said it was a metal device, right?
Yes.
Okay. He responds, um, well, in the Conjuration School of Magic, uh, I have read of circular metal devices that usually have a core that is um, connected to one of many things. Typically, they are undead or fiendish. I've heard of a celestial one, but I would be surprised if that was actually real. Whatever core is placed in the device, it somehow magnifies a pull to um, basically whatever the core is. So one with an undead core, uh, with proper modification, could possibly pull recently deceased, or well, honestly, he stops for a second and looks to be doing calculations in his head. Uh, Depending on how powerful the device, maybe not all that recently deceased individuals uh, could produce, as you said, specters would be rather common with this form. A ghost would require a powerful pull, as they are more powerful creatures.
Didn't we also like discover like dead bodies in that house too? Like in each room? Yeah. Ren's also gonna throw that in there. Like, yeah, the house also contained some corpses um in the vicinity, so probably recent.
He's gonna think he's well. These devices aren't sold normally. It would require. It would be expensive. Creating one would require a rather powerful enchanter, or more likely a conjurer who had studied enchanting enough. Um, Such a device would uh, I would not allow any of the masters here to create such a device. If it were somehow traced to them, it would be a sight. But from the sounds of it, do you know how many bodies were found?
Anywhere there.
Make a history check for, yeah, make a history check for me.
I think that is a 17.
Okay, that's enough.
I think I might have actually written my notes before.
No, that's fine. You did find 4 bodies. Uh, you found 4 bodies.
Yeah.
Um, well, a wisp wouldn't need. A will-o'-the-wisp is not of the same type. It is still. Let me double check that I didn't make an error before. Give me 1 second. It is. Yes. Okay. It is undead. um, a will-o'-the-wisp is undead, but it is not directly tied to a humanoid. Whereas a specter and ghost are directly the souls of the deceased. You said there were 2 specters and 2 ghosts, and only 4 bodies found. That would mean that this device were somehow able to pull 1-to-1 from the bodies, as well as a will-o'-the-wisp extra. Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Um, that would indicate that this device was very powerful.
We kept some surveillance on the area after that encounter, and it seemed that the people we were looking for retrieved the device, and Call overheard that it seemed that it had been more effective than they had bargained for. So it already does not seem like a very ethical device, but I think they were using it exceedingly irresponsibly, given the circumstances. So
Well, that could mean one of two things. Either those who used it simply did not know the power that it possessed, or perhaps who they got it from did not know the power which it possessed. Either way, that means an extraordinarily powerful spellcaster to create this item, and either it's an extraordinarily powerful spellcaster who does not warn those who buy from him of the strength of his devices, or who does not know the actual strength of his power. I don't know which of those is more concerning.
I agree with you there. It is an ongoing investigation, but I did want to ask you about that arcane facet of it.
If you are able to recover this device, I would ask that you to destroy it to the fullest extent of your ability,
Yes, sir.
and if possible, bring the remains to me.
Yes, sir. There is one other thing. During that incident, during the conflict with the undead, Call was injured very badly. I'm not any sort of healer, and I've proven that I can't protect them well enough, and it might be patronizing of me to say it like that, but the fear is the same. Is there anything you can teach me to be better at protecting my teammates?
Well, if you wish to study abjuration, I could set some meetings with Praetor Paramount Tara. If you Now Ben has to look up if sorcerers can learn healing spells.
Yeah. I don't think they can. That is, they
Uh,
really can't.
Where
I
is
have checked.
What about like a shield or something though? I
Yeah,
don't
even
know.
stuff like
that would be
that.
abjuration. So that
Yeah.
Yeah, School of Abjuration emphasizes magic that blocks, banishes, or protects.
I of course have a bit of a grasp on abjuration myself. I have not stuck only to divination magic. But if you want to learn, it's best to learn from the best. So if you would like, you could train with Praetor Paramount Tara. She is an excellent teacher.
I would like that, thank you. Is there anything else you would recommend in terms of equipment that might suit Call? I believe Henry has been fending for himself quite well.
Items that do what you desire are expensive.
Yes.
And aside from that, that type of thing is going to be of shorter supply, given that we are in a time of war. Anyone who can afford one will have bought it. And aside from that, Count Ander himself is requisitioning such pieces of gear for those to go on the expedition to the mountain. I'm sorry that I don't have a solution for you readily.
No, no, I was just wondering, how does one make such a thing?
With access to spells, and given enough time and the know-how, such thing as items that grant protection can be created. They take time. It takes constant imbuing of those magics into an item, um, and it takes many magical components that would be of great cost to create as well. Um, it would, of course, be cheaper to create your own than to buy one, um, but it would take time.
Thank you. Um, I'm eager to make progress in this investigation, and thank you very much for your help. I know that I've had a lot of questions for you lately. Um, but have a good day, sir. Thank you.
I'm happy to help where I can. You as well. Um, and he walks you to the door.
Okie dokie. And so Ren is gonna go from there. And let me triple fucking check something. Goodness gracious. I think Ren wants to go shopping real fast.
Okay. What are you looking to buy?
Just a variety of leather armor kind of stuff.
Okay. You want to just okay. So arms and armor. If you can find it just in a book and add 5%, that's what it's going to cost you, because
Nice.
those prices have been driven up.
Inflation,
Yeah.
yeah. Because it's
Um,
wartime.
if it's not arms or armor, just use book price.
It is armor, and we're looking at this. Okay. I can do mathematics. Okay, so studded leather armor is 45 gold. So
54. Wait,
Hmm?
did I just do math absolutely terribly? Yeah, I did. Um, yeah, that would
that would
be
be
like 47.
47.25.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So 47.25. So are we rounding up or down?
Well,
Probably up.
that would be uh, 2 silver and 5 copper. It'd be 47 gold, 2 silver, 5 copper.
You're right. Ah, yes, we can do things like that. Okay. Oh, for fuck's sake.
And if you have more stuff that you want to buy in that vein, you totally can just use that same formula, and we'll hop over to Call Exploring the City.
So, Call is hoping to wander towards the districts that the areas that they were hopping over and they were following the Tiefling girl. One, to scope out how the area is looking a few days after the fact, and two, to see if they can see the Tiefling girl again.
Okay. So that is the southeastern section of the city. Are you trying to keep any kind of distance away from the Half-a-Mug?
I don't think Call's gonna go super close to the Half-a-Mug. I think if Call starts to get within, I don't know how big the city spans, so I can't really make a huge distinction, but like Call's gonna keep a fair few blocks of berth
Okay.
between themselves and that. They don't want to look like they're trying to like start trouble, just
Mhm.
be in the area.
Okay. So, are you going to Petal's office?
Um I don't think Call's gonna do that because the thought did occur to them on the way, and then they decided that that was probably something that they should do with everybody else as well.
Okay. So more just hanging out in between the two locations.
Yeah, kind of like meandering through and seeing like what they hear, what they see,
Okay. Um.
and if anyone tries to follow or approach them and what they can learn from that.
All right. Well, give me a perception check.
Okay. 28.
Fuck. Um. uh. Uh. And I assume you're not doing anything to mask your own presence.
No.
Okay. On 28, you're meandering through. You're not drawing an overdue amount of attention. Are you wearing your normal garb, store guard brooch and such?
Mhm.
Okay,
Because that's what they were wearing when they met the tiefling girl the first time anyway.
excellent. Um, so not many people like come up to you and try to strike up a conversation. After a while, you do notice that there's a couple people that aren't exactly tailing you, but you keep seeing them. Like you know how to spot a tail, and you also had an extraordinary perception check. These people are not in view of you often enough to be tailing you, and they're never at the same time. But you do see the dwarf woman that tailed you once. Um, but then there will be periods of time where you just don't see her for blocks, and then she'll pop up again. And in between those times, you see a tall, thin, um, a rather similar skin tone to your own, with long, straight black hair, who somehow never seems to be looking at you when you catch a glimpse of them.
Okay. Um, I think if this keeps up consistently enough, Call might try to wander closer to them to see if they can figure out what they're up to.
Okay. Um, Give me a second. Having to decide what dice to roll. Just roll a d20 and tell me if it's odd or even.
Okay. Odd.
Okay. Um, so after a bit, you do. Those two individuals keep popping up as you're checking for tails and such. Um, you do not see the tiefling girl, um, at least not yet. What is the plan from now?
Um, I think Carl is going to go back to the street that they had the fight on, so the street where Petal's business um, is going to do another pass to see if they can hear anything in particular, whether anyone's talking about, like, the rates changing or, like, the fight or anything weird. That'll be the first step.
Okay. As you get closer to, you know, Petal's rent homes, you start seeing laborers, like carpenters and other types of workers at a like relatively high um, rate. Like they're kind of all over the place, fixing a door, fixing a railing. You know, you see a small group who are like repacking an area of the cobblestones to make the road more smooth. There's just a fair bit of workers in the area. Um, you don't hear any of the workers talking about anything, but you do. I'm gonna let your fucking 28 carry over because it's a 28. Um, you hear a couple people very, very happily talking about how I've been complaining about how my door had a split up it for 2 months, and Petal said this and that, and then out of the blue, there's someone replacing it this morning. Um, and that type of thing. You hear a couple of similar conversations. Um, the area looks relatively cheery. You also notice there are adults. Like it's during the workday, and there are adults around that are not specifically working on things. But they don't seem to be complaining about like losing their jobs or anything. Like nobody's lamenting that they got fired. But there are adults,
Okay.
as well as the same smattering of children that you saw the last time you were here.
Okay. Um, so after that, I think what Call is going to do is they're gonna go find the box that the crate that the tiefling girl had been hiding behind where you could see her horns poking out from above it. And if nobody is looking at them, Call is going to uh carve a smiley face, a star, and a little just a little bow and arrow into it as like a, hey, good job, and then like who it's from. Um and Call has no idea if she's going to see it or if she's going to come back and like, look around, but Call wants to leave that there just in case she does.
Okay. That's cute. Um,
Call doesn't know how else to get in contact with her without walking into the half a mug and being like, "Hello, I am going to be in trouble the moment I open my mouth."
hey, I'm looking for a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Hi, I'm a cop and I'm looking for the ragtag kid you guys are protecting. Like, that's not going to end well.
Okay. Um, After that, what's the plan?
Um Call is going to loop back one more time towards where they saw the, like, what was it, gnome woman? Dwarf woman? Dwarf woman.
Yeah, dwarf woman and
And
tall woman.
the tall
You're not
guy.
actually you're not actually sure what race the tall woman was.
Tall woman, yeah. Okay. So Call's going to meander back that direction one more time. Um, and just again try and keep assessing the situation, see what they can learn.
All right. Give me another perception check. Tell me like your result, and also tell me the number on the die.
Okay. Ah, lame. Um, the result is a 14 and the number is a 4 because I have a plus 10.
Alrighty. Um, well, perception may be low, but the luck is high. Um, so, well, I guess I have to
Roll the thing.
so many dice. Must roll the
You
right
do this
one,
to
though.
yourself.
I do, and I love it.
This is a problem of your own enjoyment.
Um, you said 14, right? Was your perception?
Yeah.
Excuse me. You get back into the area, and you're not seeing the either of the people that you kept noticing. But you do see a little group of kids, about like 6 to 8 kids, go running by, absolutely filthy. Um, and you hear one shout rather mockingly something about don't let her catch you, she'll eat your feet. And they're just running off.
So Call is probably going to shoot them a rather scathing look and then wander in the direction they came from.
Um, okay, I've got to. I don't know why I rolled. So you kind of round the corner from the direction that they were coming from, uh, and you see Kina, who is on her back, clutching her stomach, laughing. Um, and there is like red all over her face. Um, that's what you see.
I think Call is going to make a slightly noisier steps, so not to like scare the shit out of her when they start talking. And um is probably just gonna say, dare I ask what that actually is?
She kind of rolls over quickly and stands up and reaches behind her, staring at you.
Call's gonna just hit both hands up.
She just stares at you for a little bit. A little red something drips off of her chin, and she kind of relaxes a little. She's still tensed and very obviously ready to run, but she relaxes a little bit, and her arm comes out, and you see the 2 rings that are interlocked in her hand. She has this like half crouched, ready to bolt stance, and she says, "Well, it's just pig fat."
Call is going to snort just pretty audibly. And go, I don't think I ever would have thought of that. Well done.
She's gonna try to hide her expression. Do you wanna?
Yeah.
Try and... All right, give me insight.
That was a nat 20.
she is very much trying to hide it, but she's grinning pretty big. She's very self-satisfied.
Um, Call is Call's going to say, I did not come to ask any questions about anything you don't want me to know. Just wanted to make sure that everything was okay after the other day.
At that, she kind of looks up at you, really looking suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, and then she says, I was fine. You don't need to worry about me.
You were fine. It seemed like everything overall was more than expected, so I just wanted to make sure that you weren't the only one who was fine. But I took a run past the street and things seemed to be going okay.
Well, Derek got his. She stops as she realized she just gave something away.
Paul's
she,
going to look like they're valiantly pretending not to hear.
She does a very poor job of like redirecting conversation, and she's just like staring at you like with the expression of, if I say nothing, maybe nothing will have been said.
Um, Call's gonna say, you know what I told you the other day about you being really good at stealth is not a lie. Do you know how I got my current job?
She looks you over and yeah. Hang on a second. I actually think I just heard Addie. Okay, Ash is gonna go check.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. You guys can continue.
Okay.
Okay.
Um. She says, "You mean Daddy didn't get it for you?"
Um, Call is Call's gonna laugh and say, first off, I'm not from here. Second off, my dad is dead and thought I died about 10 years ago.
Um. She keeps. She looks a little bit like she doesn't believe that. And makes makes a little bit of a face, and then goes like, "People have dead dads. It's fine."
Call's gonna nod at that. Um, and then say, the way I got my current job was because I got caught breaking and entering.
She actually is gonna smile pretty big at that and proudly raise her chin and say, "Me too."
Call's gonna kind of give a like, hey, same look, and not ask a follow-up question to that. And say, yeah, when I got caught, I was told that they'd either rat me out and send me to jail, or I could come work for the city instead.
Um, Give me an insight check.
Lame. That's a whole 5.
Well, it's still you still beat her.
Wow.
Uh, she's got this look of like that goes against everything I've ever been told.
Call's gonna say, mind you, Call's gonna say, mind you, I don't think those are normal circumstances, but that's definitely how it went for me. Um, and can you believe I got caught breaking into a library?
Um, ooh. She looks very suspicious of you right now.
Oh, fun. Call is going to like think back and go. Call's going to like look at that and go. This was like 2 years ago.
She's like she relaxes a little bit, but
Okay.
still. And this whole time, she still is like standing on the balls of her feet, looks like she's ready to bolt.
Call is going to like make sure that like as they relax their posture, they're leaving like more space between the two of them. Just as kind of like a I'm definitely not going to attack you kind of gesture. Um uh and Call's gonna say, it wasn't the first time either. I got kicked out of the monastery for that too.
She like frowns a little bit and goes, "Hmm. There aren't any monasteries around here."
I told you I'm not from here.
She has a look of like, maybe you're not fucking lying to me.
Um so I managed the name is on the tip of my tongue of where it calls from. God damn it. Then help. See?
It's been a minute. It's been a minute.
I am literally just like blanking on it. I don't think I Oh no, I don't think I gave anything more specific than just Faerun.
Um,
I don't think I gave anything more specific.
uh, if I decided what it was, then I would have put it in this. Uh, well, obviously, Call knows the name of the town they're from. I don't think that I have actually. I don't think that either of us have actually determined what it was. So we'll just say you say the name.
Yeah, just say the name and then go, yeah. Like, I grew up in whatever town, in Faerun. Um, and then Call's gonna say, and then once I got kicked out of the monastery, I wandered around for a few years and ended up here.
What was it like in the monastery?
Honestly, I liked it a lot, but but like if we're being honest, I'm a nerd. Um, I really enjoyed having the opportunity to just spend my whole day learning. There were lots of the like any time I was curious about anything, the access to that information was right at my fingertips. And I was surrounded by other people who could help me figure out the answers to questions I had. Honestly, it was fantastic. Um, the management was shit. But the monastic life was actually a lot of fun. I kind of miss it sometimes.
Um, She's still holding the two rings in one hand off to the side. Um, uh, as you describe, like being able to like just get the information that you want, like be able to read what about what you need, she looks like down into the side a little bit, and kind of like her look falls a little bit when you talk about as you talk about reading and how much you enjoy it.
Um, I think Call's going to try and keep it very light and go, hmm. I think Call's gonna be like pretty careful about it and go, I was really lucky to get that education at a young age. Um, but I've had friends who had to find it find it on their own later in life.
Um, um, she suddenly like gets a little bit of a confused look, and then says, "Wait, if you were hanging out at a monastery all the time, how'd you learn to sneak?"
I told you I got caught both times.
She says,
Call's like, everything I learned about how to sneak was learned was learned after each time I got caught being where I shouldn't be. These were lessons taught by failing.
um, she's gonna laugh along with you. And the hand holding the rings goes back behind her back, and then comes out empty. Uh, she holds up her other hand and just starts like scratching in her palm.
Um, Call's gonna say, "You don't have to tell me anything. I hope you've never gotten caught the way I have."
Um, she, yeah, she looks. She is debating whether or not to tell you something. Um, but after a little bit, she just kind of looks away and then like looks around the area, um, and then back at you and says, "I don't think I can spend a lot more time talking to you right now." Um, and then she digs into a pocket, uh, and pulls out a crumpled piece of paper, sets it on the ground, and then just turns and darts.
Call is not going to call out after her or anything. Call's just gonna let her go.
Okay.
And then probably wait until she's out of sight before going to pick up the paper.
Okay. Do you unfold it? It's a rubbing of the carving you did.
Fuck! Okay. Okay, Call's treasuring that forever. So Call's just gonna smile and like make their way back towards the keep. Like they're gonna keep an eye and see if anyone is tailing them, just because that's what Call does. But Call's just gonna make their way back to the keep.
All right. Give me a perception check.
Okie doke. 23.
There is no one tailing you, and you do not see the two people that you saw a few times.
Gotcha.
Or at least you don't spot anyone tailing you.
Gotcha. Okay. In that case, Call is um Call is going to head back to the barracks and kind of like keep an eye out to see if Zerka is around, and if not, is probably just gonna see if Andy or Dirk are in the room, or Pim, and like want to go to the training field.
Pim is back. Andy and Zerka are both gone. And you know that fairly regularly Andy will go with Zerka to meetings and such, because he's good at reading people. Um, um, but yeah, Pim is back and more than happy to whack you as hard as she can.
Excellent. So Carl and Pim are gonna have some good old quality bonding time beating the shit out of each other.
All right. Yes.
The high levels that you missed is they had a good conversation at Call told her that they got caught breaking and entering twice and that they came from a monastery. And when she was like, "Then how'd you learn to sneak?" and they were like, "I told you I got caught both times." She at one point put away her little 2-ring thing, and just before she left, she gave Call a rubbing of the carving that Call did.
That's real cute. That's real cute.
Real fucking cute.
Real fucking cute. We're adopting her, right?
So, does anybody have anything they want to do for the rest of this day? I mean, Call's thing would take a while, the walking around. Call's probably not going to be coming back to the barracks till like afternoon.
I mean, Henry and Ren tentatively were gonna go to the Half Mug.
Okay. Did y'all want to get back together and go to the Half a Mug for lunch, or you're muted?
When did we agree to that?
Henry threw out the suggestion. I don't think that it was ever fully agreed to.
Yeah, it was that morning. Henry was like, "Oh, what are we gonna do about the woman who ran away?" And like, since we can't go back to the Half a Mug, and Call said, "Oh, well, you and Ren could still go," because it was just Call was the only one who like has been spotted. And then Henry turned to Ren and says, "Well, do you have lunch plans?" And then
Yeah,
I don't think we said anything after that, but
yeah, Ren didn't agree to it. Let's go. Let's go get lunch. I'm trying to decide what Ren would have decided there.
Hmm.
Jenny is being overly cautious. I think Ren would want to go. So yeah, let's go.
Which, like, I think it warrants Henry and Ren talking about it without, because Call was very certain, but I think Henry was also not as certain. So when they meet up, I think maybe Ren and Henry could talk about it.
All right. Well, let's throw y'all together at some point before lunch, and y'all can talk about it.
Um, cool. I think Henry just goes up to Ren's rooms around 11:30. And so he knocks on the door.
Answers the door.
Yeah. Henry is there. He looks a little bit like flushed, kind of like sweaty. And he has in his hand a bouquet of just like all sorts of like random flowers that don't look quite like wildflowers, but they're also not like exactly the flowers that you've seen around the keep. And he has them just like in like a regular cup of water, and he goes, "For you."
Ren looks surprised and very touched. He likes the flowers immensely, and it is evident on his face.
Oh,
Um, oh, thank you. He's gonna put that on his desk where it gets sunlight because the desk is in front of his window. And so he looks a little bemused, but content. Um, thank you. Where did these come from?
well, I spent the rest of the morning with First Sister Ulana, and she's very particular about um the Druid Garden, and she did not want any of these flowers anywhere near what she had, but I think they're beautiful, so I kept them, and I thought you would like some too, so I brought some for you.
His like little happy smile.
Oh.
So he's happy about it.
Yeah.
Um, you were talking about lunch.
Yeah. Um, what do you think about that? I don't know. I feel like I've been putting my foot in my mouth so often lately. I spoke Orcish to the barkeep, and I don't know if he would remember me and if they would remember us with Call. There's not very many, you know, elves or humans around, so I don't know if they would clock them. But also, there's a lot of people, and we were only there once, and we didn't do anything suspicious other than me being an idiot. But I don't know. What do you think?
Whenever Henry like degrades himself, Ren is gonna kind of like tap his shoulder, kind of like a silent like, "Hey, watch yourself" talk sort of thing. Um,
You, you.
um, my inclination is to be very cautious. Um, I wouldn't dismiss the likelihood that they would recognize us. Um, especially if they've been following Call.
Mm.
I think it is more likely than not that we would be recognized. But you're right in that we do need a way to actually scope it out there.
Hmm. Which, when we talked to Captain Ryan, he said that whenever his men went there, the tavern was just like empty. Like there'd be no one there. So I guess if we go there and that happens to us, we know, okay, we've been made. There's just like nothing we can do. But if we go there and it seems relatively normal, I don't know.
We can try.
All right. Well, Henry's wearing just kind of like normal stuff, but I think he pulls his hair up into kind of like a ponytail, uh, ponytail bun, something that looks like normal dwarvy, um, and says, "Are you hungry now?"
Yeah, let's go eat. Um, Ren doesn't wear a uniform at all, ever. He's just gonna go with what he's in. Um,
Technically, Ren's badge of office only matters to people who know what it is, so.
yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Well, how about the two of you give me perception checks as you walk through the city?
Okie dokie.
7.
8. Call, please help.
Cole, we need you. What do your elf eyes see? Help!
Um, with a 7 and an 8, as you approach the Half a Mug Tavern, um, you know, right at lunchtime. Honestly, y'all are getting there earlier than y'all have previous times, like more at the beginning of the run of the like lunch rush. Um, the streets are still busy. The like, as I've said, like everyone in this area who is working is either headed off to go get food, or there's a couple already coming back, early lunch or whatever. But like the roads are pretty busy. Um, and almost everyone is like covered in coal dust, or drenched in sweat. Very much everyone looks like they have been doing hard manual labor. Um, as you approach the tavern, you don't see anything to set off any alarms for you. Um, my mom just followed me on Twitch, which is weird. Uh, Thank you, user named your mom. Uh,
Then it was like actually your mom's name, and I was like,
no, no, no. Uh, my mom dead. Um,
and I was like, who's impersonating your dead mom?
anyway, back to uh, as you were saying.
Sorry, this morning we were walking Addie to school, and Ben was like, I can step on cracks now, because it doesn't matter. A fucking psychopath. I am married to a psychopath. I mean, we love him.
Oh,
but...
I make so many halfway to Batman jokes. Like.
Anyway.
So yes, nothing to set off any alarm bells in your heads or anything as you're approaching the tavern. There's not people leaning out of windows pointing crossbows at you, that you see.
That we see. Good to know.
Yeah. So y'all enter the tavern.
Yeah.
Um,
I think before we when we enter, kind of like we can kind of see the tavern, but we're not like right up at it yet. Henry goes, "Do you think we should go there for lunch? It was so good when we were there last time." Kind of giving Ren like "Are we sure about this?" before we approach.
For a penny and for a pound. Ren's just gonna go like, yeah, the food was really good. I really liked it. It's way better than name some other mediocre place in the market square or something.
give me a deception check with advantage, Henry.
Oh, that was really good that it was with advantage. I got a 2 and a 19, plus numbers. I think 3. Should be 3 'cause it's Christmas.
At least 3, unless you're proficient.
Yeah, I don't think I'm proficient. Yeah. 22.
22. Okay. So you continue into the tavern. It's busy. It's slammed. There's people everywhere. Um, uh, in fact, go ahead and give me a perception check to try and find a table.
17.
21? Yeah, 21.
Okay. That's a good enough roll to see that just about every fucking thing is packed. You think there might be some standing room at the bar at the moment, but there's not an open table.
Standing room at the bar it is.
Yeah.
All right. Um, as you approach, a couple things that you notice, because those were great rolls. Um, First of all, the back right table where you had seen Miss Erin holding court, completely vacant. That the end bar stool that had her dwarf bodyguard, empty, or well, not empty, but not he is not there. However, the half elven woman, um, the half elf woman who is fiddling with stuff is still against the wall at the end of the bar, and next to her, standing but squatting down in on her bar stool, is the Air Genasi. Um, I might have just said her, but there. Um, and the half orc bartender is brusquely handing out drinks, moving quick.
Okay. Ren is probably just gonna, wait until they can flag down the half orc and order like probably whatever he had last time, something he knows is a safe bet. Ren is boring. He actively tries to be boring. Okay. So, yeah. So really just gonna continue keeping an eye out. The Air Genasi and the half-elf woman they seem to be here like every single time. And so Ren's gonna try to not obviously watch them in particular. Like, see if he can pick up any names or anything.
All right. So just drinks to start with. Okay. You are able to finally get the attention of the half orc.
I think Henry also orders some like comfort food, so like a stew or something cozy.
Okay. That's totally fine. You can do that. You are like standing at the bar. You're not in a chair yet.
Oh, okay. So then, yeah, then just drinks. Never mind.
Okay. Um, just wanted to make sure that you knew what was going on and you weren't going to be standing there eating stew.
Why not?
I mean, you totally could if you want to, but like, what I assume is that y'all are going to wait until there is somewhere open for you to sit, and then order food. You also see the tiny gnome woman who is serving food to the different tables, expertly dodging, some who are relatively close to size in her, but most quite a bit larger because she is small even for a gnome. But never drops a plate, never bumps into anyone, darting through the establishment. One thing I will say, the half orc does like respond to you when you flag him down. He's very businesslike, which he's fucking slammed right now. There's not a whole lot of chit chat to be done, but he is very businesslike with the two of you. Just asks what you want, pours it for you, hands it to you, spins off to the next person. After a few minutes, give me a dexterity check, the both of you.
Saving throw or check?
Just a check. Just roll and 5.
That's
Number
a
is
5.
that? Oh, that's a nat 20.
Oh.
Nice.
Henry at one point makes a move for a briefly open bar stool, and is beaten to the punch rather handily. But moments later, Ren is somehow able to sit down in a chair and throw out his cloak in a way that blocks another stool next to him just long enough for Henry to sit down, and it looks smooth. Um, so now the two of you are sitting at the bar, about 3 spaces down from the air genasi.
Okay. I think one of the things Ren is he's probably gonna prioritize this in what he's looking for. He's gonna try to discern if anyone recognizes him and Henry. Like, I guess the first part of this is trying to see if they've been had or not.
Henry
me-
as well.
Insight checks to both of you. That's a perfectly rational thing for you to both be looking for.
Mod 20.
15.
Okay. Okay, with a mod 20, even with a 15, y'all can notice that although the half-orc was kind of brief with y'all, he's keeping his eyes especially on Henry. Like, between doing things, he takes a look at Henry. Other than that, no one in the establishment seems to be watching the two of you. They all just seem to be shoveling food into their mouths as quickly as possible.
Okay. Then I guess we are going to watch the familiar characters. So the half-elf and air genasi.
Give me a perception check.
And that's a nat 1.
That's a 9.
Oof. Um,
Where's Call? Get Call back in here.
Y'all are
so
doing so great at investigating on your own.
so
We got
I'm-
lunch.
I'm gonna say Henry is in the chair closer to the pair at the end of the bar, and Ren just can't really seem to see around Henry. Not only Henry, but also the other people in line at the bar. Henry, you are, when you lean forward far enough, able to look down the bar and see what the half-elf is working on. If you remember previously, the previous times you were here, it was some kind of orb that, at one point lit up, expanded, and floated into the air briefly. This is a much more polyhedral shape now. Still very similar looking pieces are scattered across the bar, which none of them look like they would fit together on their own. But she keeps picking things up, slowly putting them into this shape. And occasionally you'll notice that she is searching for pieces with both hands, and the shape continues to float in front of her. But with a 9, that's about what you'll get.
Can I do some sort of history or arcana check to figure out what the thing is?
You can do an arcana check.
7.
That is.
An orb. It's a something.
You know what? That is what you think. It's not an orb, but that's what you think it is. It is not spherical. Yeah, you. Screw you, Carter. Nothing. He's watching. I mean, yeah, that's you. You have gotten what you're getting from that while the place is still packed and moving. After a little bit, with the two of you sitting down, the gnomish woman comes walking across the bar to you, um, and asks if y'all want food.
Let's get some food.
Yeah, so just
She jots down your order as you place it, and then very nimbly leaps off of the bar, and kind of faster than you'd expect. She brings it back out and like throws it from the ground to the bar in front of you. Does not spill a drop. And you have your food.
Dexterity 30.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's low.
Okay.
Man.
The skill of someone who has been doing things for many years.
Kind of think if this is where like Aaron does business and holds court, there must be other places. I'm not saying this out loud. Asher's just saying this. Like there must be other places that the light hands meets and such. But like I guess there's no way that we would be able to like figure that out with our current checks.
I will say it's loud enough in here that if you're leaning over and like talking into each other's ear, it would be surprising if someone overheard you.
I think Henry does kind of like lean in, but not like in a like I'm whispering in your ear, but like just like leaning close, like we're talking about personal things and we don't want people to overhear. Trying to look natural while being confidential. And says, like I just don't think that Henry would even talk about this in the bar. But I think he would still do that and say, "How have you been? What do you?" I know there's been a lot going on. And we've been busy. How have you been?
Ren looks surprised and almost like he would rather have talked about anything else. I've been good. I've been good. I've been learning a lot from Master. No, he doesn't. He doesn't talk about that. He doesn't talk about that. I've been good. Yeah. How have you been?
Been good. I'm gonna say this because I don't know how to like describe it in a way that's not telling you everything, Jenny. But I feel like Henry heard that from Ren and was like, that's not the truth. And then responds in the exact same tone of voice with very, very similar words to say, oh, yeah, I've also been good. Kind of like a, if you're fine, then I'm also fine. Not like in a passive aggressive way, but just like in a, yeah, I'm just gonna, if that's how we're talking, that's how we're talking kind of way. So I don't know how to convey that other than me like describing it to you.
Ren looks accepting at that. Not like he believes everything, but just like, yeah, okay, that's happening. um, okay, Ren wants to say something, and I need to know how to phrase it. You know what? Yeah. I think anyone at the tavern would be kind of interested in whatever the half-elf woman is doing, so I don't think it'd be like unusual to like, I don't know, glance at it and like, oh, what the hell what's going on over there? But Ren is going to say to Henry in their like little bubble, do you think Orin would be interested in something like that? Kind of
I
like a, hey, let's take notes so we can ask Orin about whatever the fuck this
hmm,
is.
I think he would be. It's, he's always tinkering with something. So I think he would be very interested in whatever they're building.
I think that
Um, can we kind of look at what the pieces are and try to catalog, like to be able to describe it to Orin, even though we don't know what the things are?
You can certainly try. Give me just a moment. Trying to decide what skill check it would be. Um, I mean, I guess that just has to be perception. Um, so yeah, just give me. I mean, no, y'all aren't gonna choose to do this, but give me a perception, and I would let you make it using your intelligence modifier rather than wisdom. But I know that neither of you have better intelligence than wisdom. Wisdom, so
12.
Or
Oh,
Cole,
um,
what'd you see?
call from across the city could probably roll a perception check and get a better result. Um,
Cole's passive perception from just being in the area.
um, okay, so with a 12, um, here's what I'll say. With a 12, Ren, some of the pieces look very similar to what you saw in the gear shop, the where you bought the watch for Orin. Um, some of the pieces look very similar to what he had on his counter that he was fiddling with as well. The goblin. Um, but so like some of them are very clearly clockwork. Some of them are gears. But primarily they're these long straight pieces of metal that are like it's a long straight piece and then there's something on either end. Like it kind of looks like skeleton keys a little bit, but on either end. Um, it doesn't look like it would open a lock, but that same kind of like the metal bends down across and then up again. Um, Sometimes it's like a fully enclosed shape, um, but that's primarily what it is. And usually, those are the pieces that the half elf picks up when they go to add another piece to their shape. The gears and other clockwork type looking pieces, um, she doesn't really mess with those a whole lot at this point.
can Ren try to Arcana out of any of it, or
You can give me an Arcana check. This won't. This will be more about the purpose of the object rather than the pieces.
okay? That is a 21.
That's good. Um, with a 21 Arcana, you get a couple things. You get the feeling that the orb shape didn't work for some reason or another, and now they're trying something else. Um, you can tell that it is not floating because she has cast a spell to make it float. It is floating on its own. And other than that, it seems to have a fair bit of arcane power to it. just the way that, or sorry, not this one specifically, but thinking back to the orb, the way it lit up, and it would kind of be an undulating glow of brighter and dimmer. You get the feeling that whatever they're trying to make is intended to contain a large amount of arcane power. Whether it has its own use for it or if it's just a storage device, you're not sure, but it is meant to hold a large amount of arcane power.
Okay, and you said it's floating on its own because she cast a spell on it, or
No,
it is just
you
floating
rolled
on
high
its
enough on Arcana that you know she didn't cast a spell to make it levitate.
Okay. Nice. Okay, just wanted to clarify that. Okay, cool. So Ren's a little nervous about that, but when is he not? Cool. So he's gonna ask Orin about that later. What about the air genasi?
Uh, give me a perception check.
16.
Okay. As I said, they are perched on their chair, like standing in it, squatted down, um, watching everything that the half elf does, uh, and like seeming very interested, but also not helping in any way. Not like pointing to pieces or anything. Um, doesn't seem to be involved in the making of this object at all. Just watching it happen. Um, uh, Occasionally, they will like look around in the area. Doesn't see like you're not the only people watching this happen. There are other people that are like, the fuck's going on over there? Um, and occasionally they will make eye contact with those people that are watching, but they don't do anything to deter. Um, is there anything specific that you're wanting to see of them?
Mostly just details about them, like recognizable features, I guess.
Uh, well, they're. I mean, one of the recognizable features is that they are air genasi. There's not a
Yeah.
lot of them around. Um, Let me double check that it is air genasi.
Yeah, but like, clothing style, any.
So they are wearing like a tube top type thing that cuts off right here, leaving their midsection bare, where they are like they're not bulging with muscle, but there is not extra weight on them at all. It all looks muscly. And then they are wearing they're shorts, which are not super common, but they seem to be like a constant fabric that wasn't woven together. They're on the shorts themselves are honestly weird because it doesn't look made.
Okay, magic shorts. Um, okay. Okay. Any like accessories, like, just
Let me check.
like trying to get any indication of like if they work with somebody or, where they typically spend their time. Are they covered in dirt like everybody else? Or
No,
like the Genasi? No. Okay.
neither of them are covered in dirt.
Okay.
The Genasi also does have hand wraps, so like linen wraps around their hands. No weapon, not carry. like doesn't seem to be carrying anything. In comparison, the half elf has a huge bag that's like on top of the bar, leaning against the wall. Um, and then there's all the pieces spread out in front of her. But whereas the Ergenazi just looks to have
Nothing.
almost nothing. Nothing.
They, did you say they had a bow staff?
No. Did I say that
Why did-
before?
Bowstaff was the woman who got away on the rooftop,
Correct.
and Ren
Yeah.
remembered that from like a long time ago.
I thought
Did
we
I
talked
mention that
about
they had a bow staff last time?
I
It's
thought
possible
we
that I
talked
did.
about them being a monk because I was like, "What is a bow staff? Like, is that like a wizard staff?" And you were like,
I used
"No,
to use the bow staff.
huh?"
Back when I did karate, I used to use the bow staff. I was really good at it.
Okay.
Nice.
It's very possible that I said they had a bow staff. And you can keep whatever inferences you've made from that. However, they do not have a bow staff. I'm retconning it. Fuck past me. Screw the bow staff. No stick.
No stick. Okay.
So can we still infer? So are there
They,
other things about them that we could infer they might be a monk then?
um, yes, they have the build.
Mm.
And their arms look good for punching.
Um. I wish Call was here. Okay, I'm making
When
a
the
note.
person that can see things gets caught.
Yeah, that's okay. We will struggle with our blind eyes. Um,
Um.
To those at home, the party is currently discussing eating dice.
when are we not?
You are muted, Bronwyn.
You know how there's a thing about a lot of people who want to eat dice in D&D World because they look at it, they're like, I want to put it in my mouth. These things are so tiny. Look how small this is. This is the size of an individual gummy snack. This is an entire... Whoop! I am just dropping things. This is an entire set of dice right here in the teeniest part of my hand. Like, it is just so hard to just not take them and cram them all in my mouth like Skittles.
These are
These are
fruit snacks.
Skittle-sized.
They're
Just because
crushers.
small things are fun. Itty bitty baby dice.
Jesus, fuck, that's small.
Itty bitty baby dice.
Perfect for rolling stats for mice.
Yes.
Small stats for small people.
Um.
Okay.
Okay. Could we reasonably stay here until 1-ish, until people are like kind of going back to work?
Here's what I'm gonna say. Y'all are gonna make.
Staying too long would make us look really suspicious, though.
Yes. So that's what I'm wondering. Can I get a vibe on like would it be weird if we stayed that long?
Make an insight check. This is gonna be on the gnome waitress and the half orc bartender.
Both of
At
us?
20. Not 20. Plus
Okay.
5. 25.
So, cool. You get the impression from them that the only thing they'd care about is that you're taking up seats, and there aren't extra seats at the moment.
Mm.
That being said, you're taking up seats at the bar. So, you know, you rolled a nat 20. Here's what I'll say. Uh, I will have y'all make an opposed intimidation check. If y'all win, they won't say a thing to you or try to get you to leave. If y'all lose, the one of them might ask you to leave, seeing that y'all are done eating.
Post intimidation check.
Another possibility is if y'all keep buying drinks.
Hmm.
Probably buy another drink if we're wanting to stay that long.
Yeah.
Like Ren's really not just gonna sit there empty-handed. Like
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Like
Uh,
a tool.
I
Yeah,
will
like a tool.
like the opposed intimidation check is still going to happen unless y'all are like actively drinking. If you're sitting there nursing a drink, like drinking one drink every half hour,
Hmm.
then they're going to be like,
I think so. I think they ordered drinks, and Henry also like notices that Ren wasn't super adventurous with his lunch order, and so he orders something fun as well, and is like, "Let's eat more."
okay. Um, so for your initial drinks and meals, it's a silver each.
Mhm.
Um, and then we'll say for your fun thing and another round, Henry
Henry
will.
buys the second round for
Okay,
sure
so
for
we'll
both of them.
put that. We'll say that's another 2 silver for Henry to your fun snack and another round of drinks. Um, Carter is encouraging y'all to get drunk.
Good luck for Henry. If they don't have dwarven ale, he's not probably gonna get drunk.
Um, I mean, it's not impossible they have dwarven ale. Would Henry order it?
I don't think he would, honestly. He doesn't want to get drunk.
It is noon.
And he's kind of a sloppy drunk. Like he gets blacked out drunk, I feel like too much. Not too much, but like
Too easily?
too easily, I guess, for a dwarf. Um he's a bit of a lightweight as far as dwarves go. So like compared to anybody else, no. But compared to dwarves, yes.
All right. So y'all okay, if y'all want to make it till it starts clearing out, I'll say it'll cost between the two of you another 6 silver.
Okay, after the second round, Henry leans in and kind of waits till both the barkeep and the server are kind of like away and says, should we get another round? Or,
Ren's gonna shake his head. Nah, I think I'm done.
okay. Um, cool. So I guess we leave
So y'all gonna
after
head
the
out?
second round. Hmm.
All right.
Okay. Because basically, like, the longer they sit there, the more they're going to draw attention, and the more the proprietors are going to remember them and be annoyed with them.
Yeah.
So, best not to step on toes
Yeah.
if we want to come back.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
Okay, so that was more than nothing. And they ate good lunch, so
Yeah.
It is.
Um,
They have good food at the Half Mug.
they do. Um,
perception check for leaving, like immediately out of the bar and on our way home to see like are we being followed? Do we see any of the dwarves that we know are light hands, that kind of thing.
Go ahead and give me a perception check.
nat 20.
6. So thank you, Jenny.
With a nat 20, with a nat 20, Ren, as you walk out the door, you kind of cast a look down a road that, like, the road become like T junctions into another road, but then becomes an alley if it were to continue going straight. Like, down that alley, turning a corner, you see a woman with dark skin, tight curls, about 5'4", with a bow staff across her back.
Stop.
Okay. Okay.
Is she looking at us?
She's like turning the corner, walking away from y'all.
Oh, walking away.
Ren, pats Henry on the shoulder, and I'm trying to decide whether he's going to do something insanely impulsive.
Henry looks at Ren and insight check to see if Henry can help with whatever the decision is.
Roll your insight check.
12.
Ren is giving Henry a significant look, actually. Like, I just saw something very important. Okay, so how populated is the street right now?
It's pretty populated. It's less crowded than it was when you were approaching, but there's still a good 2 dozen people like in the area. You're not like crowded, but there's easily that many people around this area.
Is there any kind of like space that Ren thinks he might be able to like slip into unnoticed?
Like to hide?
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about like hiding out of sight or hiding with a group of people?
Hiding out of sight just long enough to turn fucking invisible and no one would notice.
So y'all come out the door. There is an alley next to the half a mug to your left. Like there's a fair bit of people, but you know there's like some crates and stuff in that alley.
Okay,
Ren knows that Henry also can cast invisibility.
Okay.
Is Henry wearing his armor?
No.
I believe that you established that earlier. Like
Yeah.
with.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, know what's really fun? The message cantrip. So I don't think he even really needs to hide that right now. So he does not need to use a sorcery spell slot on this. So he's just kind of going to like tap Henry on the shoulder, because that's basically the somatic component. I guess, pointing towards people, and he's going to say quietly, as in whisper, so nobody else can hear, and Henry hears it because the message cantrip is stupid. But he's going to say, I saw the woman who ran away on the rooftop. I'm going to turn invisible. Either if you want to come with me, cool. Otherwise, I'll meet you back at the courtyard.
Henry nods and kind of steps closer to Ren of like, or I guess he can respond. He says, I'm coming with you.
Right.
Okay.
So y'all duck into the alley?
Mm-hmm.
We won't know where each other are. Where each other is. Yeah. This is going to be silly.
All
Okay.
right.
Henry pulls out a string, like a little string, and like hands it to Ren, and it like holds the other.
Ren's going to shake his head. Yeah, actually, Ren's gonna be like, Henry's not very good at stealth either.
Henry at least won't be be at disadvantage because he's not
Yeah.
wearing his armor.
Fair. Um,
If you want to change what your message was to Henry of like, I'm gonna turn invisible, meet you back at the courtyard, or
yeah,
and
essentially.
like say like, I don't think there's a way for us to go together. or
Yeah,
whatever.
like we wouldn't be able to see each other. It'd be really, really bad at coordinating. It would just make things difficult.
Mhm.
I wish we could see each other when we're invisible.
I know. Um,
But yeah, I think Ren is gonna say, I'll meet you back at the courtyard. Yeah.
Give me a
Okay.
stealth check.
Okay, my boy. 17.
Okay. I now have to roll for a couple things.
Oh, Ren, you are doing something so stupid.
No, come back. All right. Okay. So you go invisible. I guess give me a perception check to see if you can notice anyone if they notice you.
22.
Okay. Um,
I do want to say Henry stays in the area, but goes on like a joy spreading mission. So is not obviously looking around for Ren, but is still kind of just like around.
Henry, you give me a perception check as well.
16.
Okay. You note Henry. Both of you notice that somebody saw Ren go invisible and is like wide-eyed looking into the alley right now.
Is it like some random person?
It's somebody that was just like walking down the street, like looked over and saw you wink out, and he's going.
That's fine. Yeah, Ren's gonna go down the alley. Is this the one that the woman
So
went down?
you actually will have to like step back to the road, hang a left, run till the road dead ends into an alley to be where she is.
And that's what we'll do.
Henry casts Bless on Ren before he goes.
Aw.
Okay. Throw a d4 onto that stealth check then, because you can't.
Okay.
You wouldn't have been able to do that if you did it unless you did it before Ren went invisible.
Okay. Looking up bless again, just so I.
D4 to an attack roll or a saving throw.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's
yeah,
for
you
1
you
minute.
don't get a d4 the d4 on that stealth check then.
Oh, I thought it was for okay.
No, not
Okay,
skill
saving
checks.
throws are useful though.
Yeah.
So. Okay.
And I believe just as long as Henry holds concentration on that, how long does Bless last?
Up to 1 minute.
Oh, 1 minute. Okay. But still,
Okay.
It's
better than
still
nothing.
All right. So, give me either acrobatics or athletics, Ren.
Okay, we're gonna do acrobatics. Ah, I killed my. That's a fucking nat 20. Okay.
All right.
I told the
Excellent.
Ren figure to do it, but.
So. All right. So here's what's happening. You have advantage on stealth because you're invisible. You're going to have disadvantage on stealth because you are sprinting to catch up to someone. And then I would have given you advantage because you just got a nat 20 on that. But 2 forms of disadvantage, 1 form of disadvantage, all of it wipes out. Straight roll. Give me a stealth again.
Okay. I feel like using this die. That is a fucking 21.
Very nice.
Nice.
I'm like looking at my inspiration point, like if I need you, buddy.
Natural 2 on the perception check to see you. So you full fucking send it Which did you choose, athletics or acrobatics?
Acrobatics.
Okay, so you're kind of jumping around people as you run, um, making sure you're not running into anything. You hang this corner and are able to, and you have made enough ground that you see her as she takes another turn, like further into the alleys.
Gonna follow.
Okay. Um, so the nat 20 is going to carry over. You are still gaining ground on her rather quickly. Um, so when you round the next corner, you can see her fully walking through the alley rather than turning the corner.
He's going to follow and try to be stealthy and really try and like see if she's noticed him.
Okay. Give me a or I guess that would be insight, actually.
That's a 5.
You have no clue if she has noticed you. You feel like you've been pretty stealthy, but you have no idea if she noticed you and is playing it off to lead you into a trap, or actually just hasn't noticed you.
Okay.
No clue. But you are still following, I would assume, at a slower pace because you were outrunning her.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to
He's
do
gonna...
one final stealth check as you like change pace behind her and are now much closer.
He's gonna try and leave some smart distance between them. Like he doesn't want to be like on top of her, but like, yeah.
That's fine. So you're gonna have advantage because you are invisible. And now you're not sprinting to keep up. You're staying stealthy behind her, so there's nothing giving you disadvantage.
Okay. Nice advantage. I keep on forgetting my mod for stealth, but that is a mod 20.
Very nice. She continues walking.
Okay. Rinse, wash, and repeat. Can he try to keep an eye and see if she's noticed him yet? Again? Or are we kind of done with that?
I'm gonna say that we're gonna keep that same roll, but also we're keeping the stealth for now. So she goes for a good ways, and then staying in alleys. Like she never comes out onto a full road as you are following her. And then she comes to a stack of crates, stops, and just leans against them for a second. Kind of looks up at the sun for just a second, and waits for a bit.
Ren is going to wait.
Okay. Not very long. Like a minute goes by, and you see a small tiefling girl come around from the direction y'all were heading. And she has her little rings that that has them hung on her finger, and she's spinning them around in a circle. She walks up. They share a little greeting and start talking. Very quickly, you gather that the tiefling girl is giving a report of some kind. She mentions like some guard activity. Fuck. I have to fix time frame. Yeah. This happens. This happens before Call would have seen her. Um. So if you do something crazy, we have to retcon that whole interaction. Um,
I hope we don't. It was really cute.
But so she gives a report for a little while. She brings up the work that's being done in the rent district around Petal's office. And she flat out says, yeah, Petal's actually doing his job now. He's fixing what's broken, replacing things, getting the roads more passable. Things are going like you said they would. Uh, and the woman just nods and is like, "That's good." Uh, Says, reminds her to keep the. She points at the rings and says, "Make sure you keep your alarm on you." Um, and then that seems to kind of be the end of business. The tiefling uh, spits in her hand and holds it out. The woman does the same, and then the tiefling girl says, "All right, I'll see you tonight, Miss Erin," and turns around and walks off. And then um, the woman comes off of the crates that she's been leaning against this whole time, and in front of your eyes, her skin starts to shift and change. She reduces in height significantly and becomes the dwarven woman that Call has mentioned following them around. Stands there for a little while, um, and then a little dwarven girl comes up up the alley. Very similar situation, except they mention Call, and the Miss Erin nods and leaves with her.
Okay, and just to be very clear, the Miss Erin that we've seen in the tavern before
Does not look
How
like
did she-
either of those.
does not look like either of those. I thought so. Okay. All right. So when they mentioned Call, it was just like the surveillance kind of that they had
Mhm.
been keeping on them as okay. Okay. Ren is going to quietly go back and make his way back towards the courtyard. Whenever he does find a convenient place that looks like he can like stop and reappear out of sight and make it not terrifying for people, he'll do that.
The alleys are very light, like in the whole time following Erin, you did not see another person until her little meetup.
Yeah.
So like once you get close to where you went into the alley, you can become visible again and return to the streets, and no big deal.
He might even do. Mm, just for a lot of fun, just because Ren is like super, super fucking paranoid. He's also going to use the masquerade tattoo, so he'll be visible again because like he has to go through the city, whatever. But he's going to be in some kind of disguise.
Okay. I think we should end it there because it's getting late.
It's late.
And we gotta be up to take Addie to school in the morning. um, good session. Lots of fun.
Very good session.
So good. Looking forward to watching about Kina. Um, Erin, though. Oh my god.
I think poor Call is about to have like just the unholy fire of Ren's "you're telling me to be careful, you motherfucking hypocrite" right back on their ass.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say good night to the stream next Thursday. Good for next session.
Should be.
Would next Friday work better?
I don't know offhand. Let's assume Thursday until I text you otherwise.
Excellent. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Ah.